Good morning, everybody out there in Godly Playland. You might remember we have been talking about what happened after Easter, what happened after Jesus was crucified and rose. Today, we're talking about what happened after Jesus had appeared to his disciples several times, and he told them that he wanted them to go to Galilee. And they did. They all went together. It took a long time. It took about a week to walk that far because it was about 100 miles. But this is where they had grown up, and they knew this area very well. And they had fished in those waters with their fathers many, many years before when they were young men and children even. When they got to Galilee, Peter said, "I'm going to go fishing." And the other disciples said, "We'll come with you." So they went out in a boat very, very early in the morning. And they fished and they fished and they threw nets over the boat and they didn't get anything. So they were thinking about going back into shore. And they looked towards the shore and they saw a man standing on the beach. And he waved his hand to them. And he called out, "How are you doing? Have you caught anything?" And they said, "No, we haven't caught a single fish." And the man said, "Throw your nets over the other side of the boat." And the disciples thought, well, don't know how successful that's going to be, but they did it. And when they threw their nets over the other side of the boat, they got so many fish that they could barely pull the net into the boat. It was so full. It threatened to rip the netting apart. There were so many fish. And the disciple John looked at the shore and he said to Peter, "That's the Lord." And Peter was so excited that he didn't even wait for the boat to get into the shore. He jumped over the side and he swam until he could walk, and then he put his feet down on the bottom of the lake and he ran to the shore. And the other disciples joined them. And they knew that it was Jesus, but they didn't quite know what to say to him. He had a fire going and he said, "Let's have some breakfast." So they all had fish and bread that he gave them. Then at one point he looked at Peter and he said, "Peter, do you love me?" And Peter said, "Yes, Lord." And Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." And then again he said, "Peter, do you love me?" And Peter said, "Yes, Lord." And he said, "Feed my sheep." And then the Lord said again, "Peter, do you love me?" And Peter was getting a little exasperated at this point. He said, "Lord, you know I love you." And once again, Jesus said, "Feed my sheep." So, I wonder about that story. I wonder what Jesus meant when he said, "Feed my lambs and feed my sheep," and why he was telling Peter this, and why he told him 3 times. And I wonder what that would be like. I wonder what this whole experience for the disciples would have been like when they were so sad after the crucifixion, and then after that they could be so happy. But at the same time, I think it would be a little disquieting too, a little bit strange. And I wonder what they were feeling. I wonder if they had a lot of different sorts of feelings all rolling around at the same time. So those could be some things that you might be thinking about. And we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.